Welcome back to Dr. Liu's VCE Biology. Today's topic is responding to human change over time and scientific investigation, as presented in the 2024 Victorian Certificate of Education, VCE, Biology exam. Let's learn together. If teachers, parents, or students notice mistakes in my explanations, please provide me with your feedback. Dengue is primarily transmitted by mosquitoes. A group of students plans to investigate the effectiveness of 5 different insecticides in controlling mosquito populations. They will measure the mass of dead mosquitoes after applying each insecticide. To ensure reproducibility, which is the consistency of results under altered measurement conditions, investigations should account for variations such as different methods, observers, instruments, locations, conditions of use, or times. Therefore, to check the reproducibility of their results, different students should perform the investigation on different days. H. La, approximately 60 centimeters long, with short, thick fur and no tail, can be classified based on its characteristics. Possessing fur and giving birth to live young designates it as a mammal. Its social structure, living in small family groups, opposable thumbs, and forward-facing eyes further classify it as a primate. The absence of a tail and highly flexible shoulders place it within the hominoid group. However, since H. La is not bipedal, it does not fit the classification of a hominin or a member of the Homo species. Therefore, option B is correct. In 2015, the fossil remains of at least 15 individuals were found in a cave in South Africa. The remains were classified as a new species, Homo naledi. H. naledi shares common features with Australopithecus and modern Homo species. The fossil remains date to between about 335,000 and 236,000 years ago. This fossil exhibits features in common with other Homo species. Notably, both H. naledi and modern Homo species possess well-developed thumbs and a relatively long leg length compared to arm length, making option A correct. Conversely, options B, C, and D are incorrect because the long, curved fingers and wide, flat pelvis of H. naledi have evolved in modern Homo species into fingers with reduced curvature for a more precise grip and a more bowl-shaped pelvis. Given that H. naledi shares features with both Australopithecus and modern Homo species, option A, position 1, was accepted. This is because it allows for the interpretation that H. naledi isn't necessarily related to all the diverse species within those hominin groups. Options B and C, positions 2 and 3, were both incorrect. This is due to the expectation that H. naledi should appear in the fossil record around the same time as an Australopithecus species. Option D was also accepted. It's a reasonable conclusion that more evidence is needed to confidently place H. naledi on the phylogenetic tree. In diagnostic laboratory tests, scientists use the disc diffusion test to see how effective different antibiotics are against bacteria. An effective antibiotic stops bacterial growth, creating a clear area around the disc. If one of the discs shows no clear area, it suggests that the bacteria are resistant to the antibiotic on that disc. The diagram below shows the results of testing 3 antibiotics, Q, R and S, against a particular bacteria. The technician repeated the experiment multiple times, consistently measuring similar clear area diameters. While this indicates precision, the significant deviation of these measurements from the standard reference, true, values for the antibiotics implies a lack of accuracy. Since there is no clear area around disc Q, it suggests the bacteria are resistant to the antibiotic on that disc, enabling their growth. Thus, option A is correct. In contrast, the presence of clear areas labeled no bacterial growth around discs, I and S, indicates that the antibiotics are effective, making the bacteria susceptible rather than resistant. Consequently, option D is incorrect. A student is conducting a scientific investigation to see if promoting herd immunity in vaccination advertisements affects people's vaccination choices in Australia. They are basing their experiment on prior research from Scandinavia and have divided 121 randomly recruited participants from a school newsletter and social media into 3 groups, A, B, and C. All participants received the same initial information about a hypothetical new, infectious disease. It causes flu-like symptoms, usually quick recovery, some deaths, and concerns about mutation into a more infectious strain. A vaccine is available, but its side effects are not yet fully tested. Groups B and C received additional information. Group B received that the vaccine stimulates the body to rapidly respond to the virus, which helps to prevent illness. This is an individual benefit of vaccination. Group A received that due to young age, allergies, or poor health, a portion of the population cannot be vaccinated. To prevent illness in this group, the majority of the population must get vaccinated. This highlights the benefit of herd immunity to the population. After reading the provided information, participants were asked to rate their likelihood of getting vaccinated on a scale of 1 to 5, where 1 represented not likely and 5 represented very likely. Vaccination rates varied significantly among the groups. Group A, given minimal information, was least likely to get vaccinated. In contrast, providing information on individual benefits to Group B increased their likelihood of vaccination, while Group C, informed about herd immunity, showed the strongest inclination to vaccinate. This indicates that highlighting herd immunity in vaccination advertisements could effectively raise vaccination uptake in Australia. To drive higher vaccination rates, we must strengthen educational efforts and proactively advertise the significant benefits of vaccination. This involves highlighting herd immunity's protective power, the personal advantages of vaccination, and its role in preventing illness at both individual and community levels. To enhance vaccination uptake across a population, a range of policy interventions can be considered. These encompass making vaccinations free or subsidized, implementing mandatory vaccination policies, developing school vaccination initiatives, providing financial incentives for vaccinated individuals, and applying restrictions on travel or access to public spaces. Random grouping of participants was employed to reduce bias, primarily by diminishing the effect of varied opinions and minimizing the influence of individual participant differences. This method further improves the repeatability of findings by creating comparable groups and is more likely to yield a sample representative of the overall population. The investigation was valid because it used a large sample size and collected anonymous responses, which helped ensure accuracy. Crucially, the study measured what it intended to, with only one variable changing between groups, the information received. Furthermore, Group A served as a control for Groups B and C, and all participants within the same group received identical information. This section is weighted at 16 marks, comprising 13.3% of the total 120 marks. It consists of 7 multiple-choice questions and 1 short-answer question. Multiple-choice questions cover: Question 23, Techniques for generating quantitative primary data in scientific investigations. Question 24, Ensuring reproducibility in scientific experiments. Question 35, Classification of species based on their characteristics, specifically focusing on Hylobates larvae. Questions 37 and 38, The discovery and characteristics of Homo naledi, including its placement in the phylogenetic tree. Questions 39 and 40, The effectiveness of antibiotics against bacteria, assessed using the disc diffusion test. The short answer question is, Question 10, requires a student-designed investigation exploring the influence of vaccination advertising campaigns on vaccination decisions in Australia, along with an analysis of results and recommendations for increasing vaccination rates. If you need my help, please add me on WeChat or WhatsApp and send me an email. Thanks for your attention. Please note Dr. Liu's VCE Physics channel, Dr. Liu's VCE Chemistry channel, and Dr. Liu's VCE Biology channel.